Back like we never left BDA, and today we're going to talk about One Piece Heart of Gold, that special, the prequel to film Gold. This special, it was not a bad special at all, but I do have my gripes with it. But first we're going to talk about the plot, then we're going to talk about the characters, then I'm going to give you my overall view of how this was. But first, the plot. This special is about Olga. Olga is a young girl, and she has this thing called the pure gold, right? And now she has this guy named Mad Treasure, he's this treasure hunter, this renowned treasure hunter who's after her. Now, at the beginning of it, we see that she is with the CP0. She's with those guys, they're on a ship. And for the most part, it kind of reveals some things in this special about Rob Lucci and CP0 that are really amazing. And I think I'll cover that because this is going to be, this is going to be spoiler filled. All right, this is going to be spoiler filled. So if you don't want to be spoiled, please leave or go watch it and come back. All right, 3, 2, 1. We see Olga with the tall guy from CP0, and they're on a ship, and then Mad Treasure attacks. Now, what was interesting, that after the Mad Treasure took Olga, that guy was reporting to Rob Lucci, because at first, I thought that Rob Lucci was beneath those 3 guys, right beneath the 3 guys that we always see for CP0, but he seems to be a commander of some sort. Maybe he's second in command, third in command. It's like Rob Lucci at this point is a lot higher than we expected. That was something great to see. Now, Olga, she has the pure gold. She has it on her finger, right? And Mad Treasure wants the pure gold. So Olga has a brief meeting with Mad Treasure, but she ends up getting away, and of course she runs into the Straw Hats. Now she's a little girl, but she kind of has her quirk is, this is her thing, right? She has plans to do things, but she says them out loud. It's kind of comparable to Chopper looking out and trying to peek on you, but reverse way. She says things and she says it out in the open, which is, it's hilarious, but it's like, all right, cool. She gets in the Straw Hat crew and she says Luffy looks weak, blah, blah, blah. And then she takes Luffy hostage, but she was hungry, so they fed her. So then they're like, okay, what's this gold? We get into the conversation about the pure gold, where to find it. And of course, Mad Treasure shows up. We don't get a match between Luffy and Mad Treasure then, but we do get fodder versus the Straw Hats. It was like a little fan service here and there. We saw a lot of fan service for Nami and Robin as well, which was kind of interesting. I mean, it's like, hey, it's fan service, my dude. After Olga kind of breaks it down as far as how to get the pure gold, and mind you, she hates her dad at this point. Everything she says about her dad is he's crappy, and her backstory is basically she got swallowed by football monkeyfish or whatever it is. Her island got swallowed by the football monkeyfish, and she's been alive for 200 years. Okay, so she has something that has kept her alive for 200 years, and her island got swallowed because her dad created this pure gold thing that everyone is after, and they came and they killed her mother. But then we move forward and they go into this giant thing, and the first Mad Treasure, he was going to get out of it, but then he saw the Straw Hats going in, so he follows. So then they go in, and for most of the fucking special, Zoro and Sanji are not there. That kind of pissed me off. I'm just like, all the stuff that's happening in the Straw Hats, that would not happen if Zoro and Sanji were there. I'm like, where the hell were they? So apparently, it's like this huge waterfall, but Luffy and them, they get separated because Luffy tries to use a Fusen to kind of stop the ship from hitting like something within this monster, and then he tries to reach back to grab Brook's hand, and then they shoot an arrow, he falls into the water. Olga goes with her water lizard to try to save him. So that's how Luffy and Olga get separated from the crew. In this sea monster here, there are 3 stomachs, and they are all in 3 stomachs supposedly. And we have Olga and Luffy, and then they went into some random dinosaurs. Olga starts explaining to Luffy about her dad and all this different stuff. I thought it was a cool moment showing Luffy and Olga. Another moment I want to point out, when the Straw Hat ship was attacked at first, Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, and Usopp as well, he noticed someone was there because they had the camouflage on, but they noticed that he was there. And what was cool was that they kind of zoned in on their eyes. Their eyes turned red. So I don't know if this is something to look forward to the future, that they're going to focus on your eyes when you use observation haki, but their eyes turned red. Usopp's eyes was like blinking a bit. So he hasn't really understood the concept of observation haki yet, but it was great to see. So the Straw Hats fall over this huge waterfall, and we don't hear from them for a while, and then Luffy is attacked by Mad Treasure. Mad Treasure, that's the treasure hunter that I was talking about earlier. He attacks Luffy, and Luffy pretty much, he owns him, right? And he was in and out of Gear Second, and he owns this guy, but then this guy's like, I'm just a treasure hunter, and he had Robin, Nami, Chopper, Brook, Usopp. He had all those guys. The only people he didn't have was Frankie, Zoro, and Sanji. Like, really, that's convenient as shit. So then Luffy just, gave up. And then on the sea, they have like dissolving water, right? So they're on the water and they're just like, Olga says, I don't want you to kill him, right? Just leave him here. So then Luffy, it's like a tide as far as what Luffy was on. So the tide is going to wash up and feel like the tide was going to dissolve Luffy, because remember, they're in a monster, and that's the gastric juices, the stuff that breaks food down. So it's like a sea of that. So they leave him there, then they go towards the treasure. Now while Luffy's there, he gets picked up by a fucking dinosaur or whatever, and the dinosaur takes him to this nest, and this nest has like this human guy. It's like this big human guy, because remember I said Olga, her island got devoured by this monster, right? Because this monster is attracted to pure gold. So Olga got devoured, her mom, herself, and her dad, but she couldn't find her dad after that. And we see this guy, and I was like, all right, that's her fucking dad. That's her dad. Then we find out it is her dad, and he's been there for 200 years as well, but he's pretending to be a T-Rex baby. I don't know how he got the fucking costume, but I was like, all right, whatever. Luffy tells the dad that Olga's alive. He starts crying, and then they have he's like, yo, let's just take me to her. So then we cut back to the Straw Hats, and basically this guy, Mad Treasure, is using them to unlock all these different ways to get to the treasure. We have a target practice. We have, what else? We had Brook playing, music and all this stuff. So there's like all these things like the Straw Hats were perfect for. So Luffy, because they find this lizard, and like it is this funny moment with the dad and Luffy and the lizard, but you saw it. This shit was hilarious. They run into Frankie, Zoro, and Sanji. But the thing is, they had run into, Luffy in particular had ran into like fake Zoro, Luffy had ran into fake Sanji and Zoro's earlier. See, even though the people that he ran into looked nothing like Zoro and Sanji, it was kind of like a gag from like Sabundi when they came back. So he saw the actual Zoro and Sanji, and he attacked them. And it was a cool moment seeing Zoro use no sword style. Sanji, kick Luffy, and it's like, you're my friend. I'm like, oh, fucking idiot. And Luffy tells Sanji and Zoro about what's going on with the Straw Hats. Sanji takes off. He goes skywalk, blazes on fire, and he takes off. Luffy, he goes on the lizard and the dad. Frankie's like, I'll fix the ship up so that the ship can go on the gastric water. So then we cut back to Mad Treasure, and they're in this actual thing. They're in this thing where you have to unlock the key. You need keys to unlock it, but it's like 17 holes or something, and every time you get it wrong, it gets heavier. So you have Brook, Usopp, and Chopper holding it up, and Nami's doing the keys. So obviously she's getting all of them wrong, and then I'm like, how can they hold it up that long? That's kind of crazy. So they hold it up, whatever, and then Nami passes out, or half passes out. Olga has to come, and then she's wrong as well. It's like, oh shit, well, what? We didn't even need you. And Luffy comes out of nowhere, and Luffy's like, he destroys the whole thing. But then the dad comes, and the dad just opens the secret door and shows him where it was. So that whole shit was for nothing. Sanji never really gets in there. Sanji and Zoro stay out to fight like these fodder characters, because they had like a fake Meowth Killer Bee, which was fucking annoying because he was rapping as well. I was like, what the fuck is this? Then they had this other girl who was a drunk arrow chick, and we didn't get much of them at all. So it was just like, all right. The plot was all right, because at the end we got Luffy versus Mad Treasure, and that was okay. It was a bit coordinated at times, and I was like, this fight is not as beautiful as I would like it to be, but it was like a good fight to pass the time. Mad Treasure, he went like full treasure, because he has a chain fruit, right? So he went like full chain mode, where his hair was chains, everything was chains. I was like, that's pretty cool. But the whole time he didn't use armor and haki. He was like using chains to combat Luffy, but Luffy was kind of owning him in gear 2nd. Luffy didn't even go gear 4th. So I was like, Mad Treasure's above. Mad Treasure was able to he wasn't able to beat the CP0 guy. He just he shoved him aside for a bit where he could take Olga. So that's it is what it is. As far as the characters, Mad Treasure was pretty one-dimensional. He has a philosophy of, I only use friends. I don't have friends for like friendship and stuff like that. I use them, then I discard them. That was his motto. That was what he did. So they was like very like opposite of Luffy. So they were clashing there. His subordinates, the black killer bee guy and the black girl. The only thing we found about that guy is that he's a camouflage human, and it was hilarious because Sanji really respects that guy. Because if you remember, Sanji loves the invisibility thing. So that was a cool dynamic. Sanji said, "You have given me hope to not give up on my dream." It's like, what, you fucking pervert. And the other chick, we know nothing about her. I don't even remember her name. Like, that's how much they weren't involved. So I mean, Olga, she was cool. She was cool. Like I said, her quirk was funny, or her gag was funny, and also her dad. They had that moment. For the characters, all right. It wasn't too much exposition as far as they were concerned, but it was okay. Overall, I'll give this special 7 out of 10. Like I said, some of the attacks were very uncoordinated, but it was some good fan service in there as far as not just like titties and shit. It was just like seeing Zoro and Sanji and them go in. That was cool to see. Some of the animation was great. Honestly, some of like Luffy going Gear second, they really made that pop. So that was really cool to see. Overall a great special to pass the time, and then they give you like the precursors as far as like how they even want to go to Gyo Tesoro or Grand Tesoro anyway. So it was I enjoyed it. 7 out of 10. Good stuff. Let me know what you thought about it. Like this video if you did. Subscribe to this channel if you have not. That'd be dope, man. And peace out.